Hello everyone and welcome back, Dom here, and the time has come guys. On this video I'm going to be checking out the Console1 Fader from Softube. I promised a while ago that once I get my hands on one of these I'm going to make a video, and myself being a controller geek, you know this by now, I couldn't resist. One thing that I didn't want to do with the Console1 Fader was to rush a video. I wanted to actually use it for quite a while. I wanted to test it in real life mixing situations and productions. And now I think I'm ready to talk about it with you. Right after this. Okay, first things first, when I try out a controller, what I'm looking is build quality. That's very important for me. Number two is perfect integration with Cubase. I don't want any generic controllers. I've tried it. For me, it doesn't work. I know that for many people it works and it's great. For me, it just doesn't work. So I want something that's deeply integrated in Cubase. And I have to be honest with you, when Console1 Fader came out, I was super excited. Then I saw the faders on the photos, and I thought, they're not going to be touch sensitive, they're not going to be motorized. Even if they're motorized, they don't look like they're touch sensitive. Well, I was glad to find that I was completely wrong. These are touch-sensitive faders, they're motorized. I actually went ahead and checked this out in person at NAMM when we could still travel. I met the guys at the Softube booth. Shout out to Todd for showing me around, and I was really impressed. But it took me a while until I managed to get hold of one of them. Now, let's speak about build quality first. It's metal, you know me, I appreciate a nice construction. This is all metal. It has the same philosophy like the Console1, so the build quality is brilliant. I love it. I have no complaints there. The faders are really nice and smooth. So as you can see, I can select a channel, move it, and as you can see, it synchronizes with my CC121 as well. So build quality is great, tick. The next thing that I was really interested about is the integration with Cubase. And that I didn't have too many doubts because I already knew from the Console1, the original one, that it would be seamless. And actually, it was a big deal when Cubase started supporting Console1. For me and many other people, you know, it was a big thing because it gives us access to devices like this. Softube makes amazing plugins, they sound incredible, but what I always felt was I needed something to complement my CC121. Okay, now let's talk about the elephant in the room. I think you can see this. How cool is this? When I got this, I couldn't believe that you can actually slot it on top of the CC121. It's like they designed it like this. I'm pretty sure that wasn't the case, but guys, check this out. It feels like it's an extension of the CC121. How cool is that? So for me, this is a big thumbs up straight away. The fact that I can have two units, and actually I could even have the Console1 on the other side of the CC121. I'm trying to find a way. If I find a way to do this, I'm gonna let you know. I'm talking to some really cool people that might help me to do this, but look at that. This is incredible. I'm going to show you what I've done in order to level this because obviously this is not as tall as the CC121. I actually created a little bit of a foot with Sugru. It's almost like gum. You kind of shape it into the shape that you want and then it becomes almost like a soft plastic. So that's what I used to level this with the CC121, and actually it's perfect. It doesn't wobble or anything. Let's talk about how you use this inside Cubase. What about the integration? How does it feel? So let me show you. I actually have a mixer here, and the one thing that you need to do in order to be able to use the Console1 Fader as a controller for Cubase is you need to add the Console1 plugin into every single channel in your Cubase project, right? This was the case with the Console1, and it's the same with Console1 Fader. And actually, if you have both of them, then you kill two birds in one stone. as you can see, there we go. I have all my channels here, and they all have the Console1 Fader. Now, most of the times what I do is I add this as a first plugin in the chain. This was a mix that I started before I got this one, so I added it later on, but I'm going to show you how many cool things you can do with it. So in just a few seconds, what do we have? We have volume control, motorized, touch-sensitive faders, we have solo, we have mute buttons, we have phase inverse and bypass, we have send control for ascents, we have free assignable buttons, we have drive control, we have character control for the drive, we have input gain, so this is like the input gain of Cubase, we have low cut filter, like this, and high cut filter, like this. We also have a panning control and a stereo width control. I'm going to explain all these things in detail, but I wanted to give you a very quick overview before we get started. You can select your channels like this, as you can see here. And when I hit play, you will see that I also have some nice LED meters here, so I can see what's going on. This is very cool. I find that in order to be able to see these meters, it's better if you have this at an angle. Again, I'm trying to find a cool way to do this, and if I do, I'm going to share it with you guys. But other than this, if you check out the faders, I can of course move all my faders like that, and I can go to the next bank like this. Now, you know what I really dislike with generic controllers is that I have to go bang, 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 you know, switch until I get to the right channel that I want. Now, I don't have this problem with this one. Let me show you. If I go here, see, I'm moving across my channels with a CC121. See, this updates. That's good. That was the first thing I tested. If that wasn't working, I wasn't gonna make this review. So if I go from channel number whatever 4 here, my snare, to channel number, let's say 76, okay? Check this out. Boom. There we go. Here's my channel, 76. And I know what channel I have selected because it's illuminated here. So if I go like this with my CC121, I can control my channel on the CC121, but I know that I'm here now, so I can start controlling my vocals maybe. The next thing that's really cool is that we have 3 assignable buttons here. So these are assigned to play and stop, like this. And then we can use this one to go to my previous marker, or this one to go to my next marker. This is actually pretty cool, but the other cool thing that you can do is you can assign them freely to something else. So sometimes what I like to do is I like to open my Console1 user interface, go to settings, and then I can scroll here. This is also very cool. I'm going to show you in a second. But what I can do is I can go and reassign the assignable buttons. So maybe I want to change the rewind. I hit OK on the Console1 Fader, and now it asks me to give this button a key combination. In this case, I'm going to clear it and add E as my shortcut. And when I hit OK, this now will open my channel settings because that's my shortcut for channel settings. And I love that. These are freely assignable buttons that you can use in addition to what you have, let's say, on a CC121. To be honest with you, the Console1 Fader could just stop there. This is already great for me. I would be very happy with this because what I actually needed was something to extend the functionality of my CC121. The CC121 is incredible. I've done a video about it. If you want to check it out, I go in depth about what it does. But it's still one fader. You know, if I wanted to control more than one fader, it's not possible. I have to go one by one. Now, the other great thing that you can do with Console1 Fader is that you can control the synths inside Cubase. So let's say, for example, I go to my snare here, my snare top. I can go here, and as you can see, I'm controlling the snare, which is really cool. But if I press the send one button here, see what happens? All the faders flip. And this gives me a nice representation of where my sends are. Let's go here. See? So this is send number 1, and this is send number 2. So send number 1, I can add a little bit of the snare verb, and send number 2, there we go. I send it to my Vox verb as well. And I love the way this works because I can actually see my fades at a glance. Check it out. Send 1, send 2. Let's go to a different bank. See? So now I can see very, very easily what my sends are according to the banks that I choose. So this is very useful, and it's great creating automation for your send. So if I go here and I want to create some automation for my send, let's go back to my snare, and let's say I want to create some automation for this send. I can go here, write automation on my CC121, and then hit play, go to my send, and start recording some automation. And now let's see what it does. And as you can see, it shows me the automation of the send as well, which is pretty cool. Now, it goes without saying, I forgot to mention, I think it's a given, but you can record automation for your tracks, right? And let's record some automation. And of course, I can still control it with a CC121 at the same time. And now I have my fader automation right there. And it's very interesting if you see them working together. This also gives you an idea of how fast these faders are. They have a pretty similar speed, but let's move on to some more features for the Console1 Fader. And actually, the Console1 Fader also includes a plugin. And when I'm saying a plugin, not just the plugin that controls Cubase, but an actual plugin that has a sound. So I'm going to open the interface as well so you can see what's going on. Now, one thing that we have in the Console1 Fader is the drive. So if I hit this button here, you will see that again, the faders reset. So this is volume, this is drive, and this is the character. Now, these two, the drive and the character, actually contribute to the sound that you get out of the Console1 Fader. So let's go to drive, and let's try and add a little bit of drive to this drum bus. It actually can give you a really nice saturated color, and you can add a little bit of it so that you can add a little bit of punch, a little bit of warmth to your sounds, a little bit of harmonics, especially for bass. I find it works great. And then with the character, I can change the character of the drive. So that's bright, and that's a little bit darker. Let's go to this synth drive bass here, and as you can see, I don't have to worry about, oh, have I selected the right channel? I know that it's there, And let's add some drive here. And as you can see, it's very easy to add a little bit of color, a little bit of texture to your sounds. I really like the drive on the Console1 Fader. It really adds something, and having it on the faders like this, it's actually really musical. So just to give you an example, let me go through this track, and I'm going to start adding the drive without even looking at what I'm doing, okay? I'm just going to play by ear. Since Okay, you see what I mean? I don't have to look at the screen. I can just go here and listen. And of course, I would pay attention to what channel I'm tweaking, right? But it's very hard to make it sound bad if you don't overdo it and you just add subtle notes here and there. It can sound pretty amazing. Now, the next thing, I showed you the drive, I showed you the character, but it doesn't stop there. Still, there are more things that you can do. Of course, we have the panning, okay? So let's go here, let's go to the very beginning and tweak the drums. Pan. And if you press the shift button, this knob changes and the function becomes a stereo widener. This is amazing if you want to make your synths really wide. So this is a very powerful function. And as you can see, this is not just a stereo widener. It actually turns your tracks into mono depending on the frequency. So you might want to make sure that your low end is mono and nice and compact. You could just turn this down up to, let's say, 125 hertz, 140 hertz. And then you can be sure that from this frequency and lower, the signal is going to be mono. And everything above this frequency is going to be stereo still. So that's really cool. That's really cool. You have to use it with caution, of course, because if you go way too wide, you know, don't make everything so wide. You know, just be careful. It might sound very good at first. I want to show you one last thing. You can go shift and load strip, and here you can select the actual model of the console that you will use. Now this will change the sound of the character, okay? So this is very important, and you can get some really amazing sounds by using this function. The last thing that I want to talk about is the layer mode. This is a little bit of a more advanced function, but it's very useful nevertheless. The way you use this is you can add tracks to a layer. For example, let's say I want to go to, let's go like for my drums, okay? I'm going to assign tracks to layer, and I'm going to click on the first one, okay? So this is my first layer. And now I can assign the tracks that I want to this layer. So maybe I want this one, this one, this one, maybe my drums. And that's good. Now I hit OK, and now these tracks are assigned to this layer. Now what does that mean? Now I can play and I can control all my drums using this layer mode. See those tracks? They all go up and down, and this reacts like a VCA fader, which is really cool. Now the other thing that I can do is I can add drive to all these channels at the same time. Let me show you. And you can add these other cool things that we have here, and I haven't shown you yet. Oh man, there are so many features, which is the input gain. This is what Cubase has built in, but you can use this in the Console1 Fader as well. So let's go back to layer mode, and as you can see, I can adjust the input gain. Let's play. So maybe I can drive some plugins a little bit harder, or maybe I don't want to drive some plugins hard, so maybe I can pull down the input gain. The other thing that you can do is you can use the low cut and high cut filter. This is again the part where Console1 Fader has a sound. Okay, this is layer 1, and if I click it again, I can go back to my channels. Now let's say I want to go to my synth bus. Let me show you this one as well. Of course you can do this on individual channels, and let's solo it. Yeah, and the filters, like with the Console1, they sound really, really nice and smooth. Really beautiful filters. And the high cut filter. So we have low cut filter, high cut filter, and actually they're really nice and you can use them creatively as well. So by now, guys, you understand that I really like this unit. There are two things that really did it for me. Number one, the integration with Cubase. Number two, it really works very well next to the CC121 and even fits next to it. And the other thing is that, yes, more than one faders allow you to just close your eyes, listen, and mix, okay? This is something invaluable. It's a tactile experience. You can do everything with the mouse. You can do everything with one fader, but more faders. So I hope you enjoyed this video, guys. I hope that this video helps you get a clear picture of what the Console1 Fader can do for you, how it works with Cubase, and at the end of the day, if it's the controller for you. So this is going to stay here, this is going to sit on my desk and you're going to keep seeing it. But in order to keep seeing it, you have to subscribe to my channel and also please hit that bell notification icon. I know that most of you haven't done this because you miss my videos. I know it, YouTube tells me. So please hit that bell notification icon. It really helps me create content like this for you. Share it with anyone you think they might find it useful, and in the comments down below, let me know what you think and if you think that this is the controller for you. Until next time, have fun, guys, and I'll see you in the next one.